Happy Friday. What is up, investors? Welcome back to In the Green with Charlie. Today, I have a great interview for you guys in high schooler Jack Notzon. Jack knows a lot about the markets for someone his age, and we discuss how different generations go about investing. Here is our conversation.
I'm at the bank making money, making moves. Machines with tools and drills, making grooves. Missions impossible.
Hey, Jack, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Charlie?
I'm fantastic. So could you get started by just introducing yourself to the investor community?
Hi, I'm Jack Notzon. I'm 17 years old, about to be 18 in the next couple days. Pretty interested in finances and investing. I started somewhat young compared to maybe more of my generation.
When's your birthday?
My birthday's November 8th, so this Sunday.
Any big plans for it?
No, nothing with COVID, but
Well, maybe next year.
I'll enjoy it by myself. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you first get started with Invstr?
I got started with Invstr from my family. They invited me to our little league there, our fantasy league, and pretty much in the past month we've been trading off, giving each other tips and stuff on what trades we think are viable and what we're really trying to do.
For investor users who might not know, how is your family at all related to the Invstr app?
So my aunt and her husband developed the app, Invstr, I think, let's see, 2 years ago, maybe. And so we're pretty involved. We've been involved since the beginning. Definitely mostly my Thea has been the most involved.
Gotcha. So how's that family league? Would you say it's more cooperative or more competitive? A little bit of both?
Definitely a little bit of both. Our family, the Notzons, are definitely a lot more competitive, but we're still very friendly when it comes to all our games and little competitions.
Is there a little bit of trash talk in there sometimes? Is there a prize for the winner? How's the dynamic of that?
We don't have any prizes. I mean, definitely, I haven't seen any trash talk, but I don't know what's really been going on too much. I've been doing my own thing.
Gotcha. So when you first started on the app, obviously you're pretty young. What was that first experience like?
It was interesting. I mean, I really value the compatibility with the younger users on the app. I mean, it's very straightforward. The UI is great. It's easy to navigate throughout the app and really see what you're choosing, what you're buying. And
definitely. So what was your strategy those first few weeks you used the app?
Just to experiment a bit, which is what I think is the best part of it. Since it's a simulation, you get to really experiment and see what trends you might want to hop on, see what trades you might want to do. And so it really just led all to experimenting and using my own creativity to see what I can pull off.
Was there anything you pulled off in those first few weeks you were really proud of?
No, not really. I mean, recently, I've just gone full bull on the market with the elections. I mean, with my own emotion, I mean, I'd think that the market would go down, seeing how undecided right now the election is, and no one really knows what's going on. But I did just a brief little research just to see what's happened to the market in the past elections, and it seems there's always been a little surge throughout the election. So I went full bull, and I've done pretty good these past 2 days.
Definitely. Has there been one or two trades you made on Invstr where you really got burned, you were really confident going into, and then you realized they were a huge mistake?
Yeah, I mean, I hopped on Zoom really late since obviously I started investing 2 months ago. It was pretty high, and I thought, I mean, there was still a decent bit of chance it could go up, seeing how we're still pretty much in quarantine, and I really think it'd last for another several months. So I tried hopping on Zoom, and it didn't really do me that well.
That's tough. So you said
Yeah.
you want to kind of go into a career maybe in finance. How has your experienced
Yeah.
investor helped get you started or get you thinking about that?
It's definitely provided an interactive experience, which I think is really important because I mean, you can read all you want and you can study, which is fantastic. But I think a really key detail when it comes to investing, really all things of life, is getting that firsthand experience. I think Invstr really provides that.
Definitely. Are there any sectors or industries that you have particular interest in that you really love investing in?
Not necessarily. I mean, I just try to focus on trends, and I think this is a point I did want to bring up, is why important I think investing is to our younger generation is when it comes to trend forecasting, I feel like we do have some advantage in that aspect, seeing how trends have really emerged from technologically driven outlets in the past several years, and seeing how populated some of these social media platforms are by younger generations like millennials and like Gen Zs like myself, it seems we're a bit of an advantage when it comes to trend forecasting. I think that's very important.
Yeah. So like what are some of the other disconnects you see in like the markets between the way like younger people invest and maybe like baby boomer generation people invest?
Yeah, so younger generations are definitely investing off of hype, which I mean isn't the best. So I mean they might see one thing and they'll be like, "Oh, let's all spring on it." And you see all these Robinhood investors and Portnoy investors coming in
Exactly.
and following some advice as they see market goes up, so they go in and spring on instead of really looking at the data and analytics of some of these companies.
Gotcha. And you're saying like baby boomers are much more kind of reserved, wait to see what happens kind of
Yeah.
compared. Okay. And like, have you tried to take advantage of that, knowing the way maybe younger people act and maybe there's like a way you can benefit from that?
I mean, definitely. So whenever I first got started investing, it was I think in the 7th grade, and I saw all this hype about. I mean, it was really popular sneaker culture. I mean, it still is. And so you have Yeezys coming up, and you have Kanye West signing with Adidas, and I was like, man, there's so much hype with this. I went to go start a little custodial account at a local financial advisory business, and that sort of like led me to some of my decisions. I invested in Adidas, and it did really well after that. Like doubled in like a year, I think.
That's awesome, man. I love that in 7th grade,
Yeah.
way ahead of the game. So kind of like looking forward in life, like what are your goals? Where do you want to go to college?
Currently, I'm pretty uncertain. I would love to go to UT. I know they have a great business program. They have Macombs, and they as well have their Canfield Business Honors program, which is very recognized. I'm not too sure what I'd like to do after college, though. I mean, I love finances. I would just have to see where I can take myself
For
and where
sure.
my passion really lies. And that's what I'm going to try to figure out in college.
Definitely. What advice would you give to someone who maybe is like your age but hasn't really interacted much with the stock market and is just getting started on Investor? Like, what would you tell them first thing that they should do is?
Definitely do a tiny bit of research, start experimenting. Let's see, do research, start experimenting. Invest in a couple stocks that you really like, not just what other people say, and see where it takes you from there, and just try to learn from the experience.
Gotcha. Why do you think more young people aren't like involved in the stock market? What do you think is the barrier for them?
I think I think we've sort of defined finances as stocks, like you said, as like a baby boomer generation and a baby boomer like domain. Like we can't really enter. It seems like all these old guys are really controlling this, and we're more interested in other stuff like social media and different things like that. But I mean, like I said before, I think it's really important for our generation, as I believe we do have an advantage when it comes to trend forecasting.
Definitely. So do you think it's like a good thing when people who like it's kind of like a good and bad thing, right? Like more people are getting involved with all these new platforms to invest in, but they're also
Yeah.
like less experienced. So do you think it's like more been a good thing that more people are getting involved with the market, or more of a bad thing because people are jumping in way too fast?
Uh, it's hard to say right now. I mean, definitely on the media, it's portrayed as a bad thing. Um, I think I think inevitably it will be a good thing because I think it just gets more people involved and they'll become more experienced. I mean, they're not going to start. It's not going to be continuous like with these really hype-based trades constantly. I mean, I think they're just going to get more experience. I think it's important for these people to get experienced in finances.
Gotcha. Well, who's going to win your family investor league this month?
I think my Thea is going to win. I'm a second place right now. My family's all doing well, seeing how good the market's been. But I mean, I'm gonna see if I can pull it off. But she's definitely got ahead of the game right now.
Have you won it before?
No, I haven't. I
You
haven't yet.
haven't. I feel this is your month. You're in second right now. This is going to be your month. I think
Yeah,
this
I
is your
hope so.
time. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast today, Jack.
Of course. Thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Machines with tools and drills making grooves. Missions impossible.
I am not a financial advisor, and my comments should never be taken as financial advice. Investments come with risk, so always do your research and analysis beforehand.